Hey, good morning, and thanks to the folks online. We are still waiting on a few people here in the room, including our chairman. So we're going to give it a few more minutes. We have not forgotten about you. We are on, and we'll let you know when everything's ready to get started. Folks online, thanks for your patience. We are still waiting for our chairman to get here, which will give us 4 people, which will give us a quorum. He texted me he is on his way. So if you have some patience for just a couple more minutes, thanks for your time, and hopefully we will get started here momentarily. So we have 4 total, which is just exactly a quorum.
Okay.
So I'll probably have you do roll call votes on everything, just to make sure we're above board, but other than that, I think we should be good to go.
All right. Sorry about that, everyone. Mr. Crow, can we confirm the recording has been started? We're good? All right. It is 9:13. I would like to call to order this meeting of the WIFA Water Supply Development Committee. Do a little roll call vote. Ted Cook. Here. Patrice Horseman. Drew John.
Here.
Pete Kim. Jonathan Lyons. Donna Michaels.
Present.
And Buchanan Davis. I'm here. 15 minutes late, but I'm here. But a quorum is confirmed barely. So the roll call is complete. Before we start a meeting, just for the record, remember to identify yourself when you're making a motion or requesting to speak, and ensure you're unmuted for any votes. And for those in the room, remember to leave your microphones on the table for sound quality purposes. We will move into our agenda item 2, disclosure of conflicts. Have we received any disclosures?
Morning, Joe Satelli, General Counsel. No disclosures have been submitted for today's meeting. Thank you.
Sounds good. Now's the time to disclose any, if you have any. We can do it on each agenda item as well. Seeing none, we'll move to agenda item 3, the director's report. So I'll pass it over to you, Director McGuire.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and not a lot to report today. I'll let Lindsay get into the project priority list and where we stand on that, but I did want to just note for the committee, the resolution that you all passed earlier this year that essentially is the Clear the Decks resolution, trying to get every project on that PPL to the committee by the end of December. We are still on track to do that. It will depend a little bit on some of the work we're doing on the other committees here at WIFA and what those meetings look like, but I think it's probably safe to assume this committee will meet again the first week in December for the last of those projects that we have on the list. So you'll be getting, as usual, a poll for that. Again, that's not 100% sure, but I think it's a safe assumption at this point. So yeah, I know, again, not a great time of year to be super flexible, and so we will try to get you those dates as soon as we possibly can so we can get those nailed down on your calendar, but that's what we expect at this point. Any questions for me? All right, thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We'll make it happen. All right, moving on to the regular agenda. Agenda item 4, recommendation to adopt water supply development project priority list. Lindsay will take us through.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we can go to the next slide here. So on the slide here, we have the amounts as they stand today. So we did have several new project priority list applications come in from 5 different communities. We also had some applicants remove their applications from consideration. And so where we have the final amounts right now is about 90 million in requested funds, with almost 70 million already approved and another 20 million pending your consideration. We do have of that amount 64 million that is eligible for grant funds, with 53 million already approved in grants and another about 10.9 million for consideration, as well as 15 million approved in loan funds, with about another 10 million for pending projects. We can go to the next slide. So we really are getting to the last kind of projects on the list here, working through the many applications that we received. We have on the slide, it's the light blue projects are on the agenda for your consideration today, and then the projects that are white are for the future meeting, which, as director noted, will likely be early December. We also do have one update from that last project on the list, Jackson Acres, that they informed us yesterday. They are officially removing that one from consideration. So I didn't get that information in time for the list here, but one less for your review at the end here. But we will have the 5 projects for your consideration. I'll also note we still have that double line there to kind of indicate where the $60 million of grant funds line is. And we do have one project on the list for today that is below that line. So just to make sure that's clear. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Lindsay or staff? Awesome. All right. Thank you, Lindsay. We'll move into some resolutions then. Agenda item 5, recommendation for approval of financial assistance resolution 2026-029, the White Mountain Apache Tribe. Lindsay, do you want to take us through?
Thank you, absolutely. All right, so this project is located in Navajo County on the White Mountain Apache tribal lands. It's focusing on restoring and enhancing their water supply capacity. They're considered a priority community, and the project would be in the Holly Lake area. They are proposing improvements to rehabilitate their existing wells and install a new well, to install SCADA systems for modernizing their operations, do a pump house rehabilitation and disinfection system installation, make storage tank repairs and water line extensions, and add a biological treatment facility. They also plan to do a full system-wide water study to guide future improvements. The project is eligible for 100% grant funding, totaling just over 1.5 million. The tribe has no outstanding WIFA loans and has not previously received water supply development funds for this project. The tribe has faced some financial challenges in recent years, including post-COVID financial volatility, a cybersecurity breach that delayed financial reporting, and then a shortage of qualified accounting staff. In response, they have engaged a third-party cybersecurity firm and have worked on their staffing shortages. We do have the applicant representative, should be online, Cheryl Pelzote, representing the White Mountain Apache tribe, as well as John Luther, their grant writer. I'll turn it back to you.
Great. Any questions for staff? Any questions for the applicant? We have the applicant. Not seeing any questions. Do we have any requests for the public to speak on this item?
No request to speak on this item.
None. All right. So any additional discussion? Got no questions or either, so I'd entertain motion. Oh, go ahead, Mr. Cook.
I would like to make a motion, but before that, I have to take advantage of making a comment for a minute.
Okay.
So I might note that this project is number 14 on the project priority list that Lindsay just showed us. It has a relatively high score as well, and I know that there was some concern, not specifically about this project, but in the projects in general, about our deadlines and wanting to get this funding cycle through the paces. So I appreciate that the applicant here has kind of made it to the finish line of coming to the committee and then later the board, hopefully on a vote here. So congratulations on getting that done. And therefore, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that the committee recommend financial assistance resolution 2026-029 White Mountain Apache Tribe.
I have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it. Drew, John.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Joe, do you want to do that as a roll call?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
We're going to do a roll call, just given our tight numbers here, just to make sure. So go back to my roll here. Mr. Cook on the motion.
Aye.
Aye. Patrice Horstman, not here. Drew John.
Aye.
Pete Kim, not in attendance. Jonathan Lyons, not in attendance. Donna Michaels.
Aye.
And Buchanan Davis votes aye. So the motion passes 4-0. All right, thank you. Moving to agenda item 6, recommendation for approval of financial assistance resolution 2026-030, the city of Douglas. Lindsay, you want to take us through?
Absolutely. And I will note, we did have, the agenda had the wrong fiscal year listed for the project number for this one. So WSD-074-2026 is correct. The agenda had 2025 incorrectly, but everywhere else in your materials, it has it correctly listed. So for the project, so the city of Douglas is proposing to address some critical water infrastructure needs for their community. They plan to equip and activate their well number 18, which will tap into deeper groundwater sources, which would help to improve their supply reliability. Additionally, they plan to replace a key transmission line along the Geronimo Trail Road. This line conveys water from the city's 5 million gallon reservoir to the eastern distribution system, and they consider it an essential upgrade to ensure their consistent service and pressure. The project does qualify for 100% grant consideration for $2 million. Douglas currently holds 3 SRF loans with WIFA, all of which are in good standing. Over the past 5 years, the city has consistently exceeded their required debt service coverage ratio for those loans, and projections show continued financial health, even when accounting for current debt obligations. The city has proactively implemented rate increases, with the most recent in FY26, and plans for modest annual revenue growth and expense increases through FY30. So if this was a 100% loan, the city would still meet coverage requirements with the projected debt service coverage ratios. We did list the previous WIFA financial assistance associated with this project. So they have a $2.1 million SRF loan for the new well, and then about a $800,000 water conservation grant for the reservoir rehabilitation and pipeline design. We should have applicant representatives, Luis Pedrosa, the deputy city manager, and then Carl Rockwell, the public works director, for any questions. Thank you.
Great. Any questions first for Lindsay or for staff on this?
Sure.
Yes, Mr. Cook.
I'm sure this is the case, but I wanted to verify it one last time before we consider this item. So this overall project, as Lindsay had just mentioned, it has receiving WIFA funding from various sources, from the drinking water SRF, from the Conservation Grant Fund, and now before us is the Water Supply Development Fund. And it's a very creative, what I'll call stacking, for a $5 million project to seek these fundings, for which the city, I'm assuming, is eligible to do that. But I just wanted to ask Lindsay specifically, with all of the rules that exist on the various funds as far as the maximum size for a project and a program and those type of things, that we've diligently checked that this aggregation has not violated any one of those rules or limitations.
That is a great question. It is something we certainly looked at to confirm that this project wasn't related to their other water supply development project. The co-funding for this would be coming from the SRF and the Water Conservation Grant Fund, which certainly can be stacked together. They do have to now follow all of the SRF requirements because it is co-funded with the SRF program. So things like Davis-Bacon and American Iron and Steel, but that is something that we included in the resolution for this one.
Oh, okay, great. Really good job, City of Douglas, on trying to maximize the availability of public funds in this way, to otherwise do a project that probably wouldn't have gotten off the ground, and be able to do part of it, but not the rest of it that really would make sense. So we can be in our various guises in our various committees, these board members can be I know I'm one of them, can be somewhat critical about sometimes folks coming and seeming to ask for financial assistance for things that they really maybe ought to have done themselves or find another way to do or not eligible and things like that. But this one at the end of the day is a putting together a very difficult puzzle in a way we haven't seen before. So I look at that as creativity rather than some other description that somebody else looking at this might say, boy, they sure are coming back to the well a lot. Well, good for them. That's what if you qualify and you have a good project and this is a high scoring project, then by all means take advantage of it.
I really appreciate those questions and those comments, Mr. Cook. Other comments, other questions for staff? Or questions for the applicant? If there's no other questions or discussion, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, this is Drew John. I would make the motion that we approve the resolution 2026-030 for the city of Douglas.
Got a motion? Do we have a second?
I'll second, Mr. Chair.
We do have a motion and a second. We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Cook on the motion,
Aye.
Patrice Horseman, Drew John,
Aye.
Pete Kim, Jonathan Lyons, Donna Michaels,
Aye.
and Buchanan Davis votes aye. So 4 ayes. Motion passes. Thank you. Go to agenda item 7, recommendation for approval of financial assistance resolution 2026-015, Mojave County. I believe it is Scott taking us through this one.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mojave County, Horizon 6 County Improvement District is seeking $875,000 in financial assistance to fund the design and installation of 2 fire pumps rated at 1,200 gallons per minute each. In conjunction with this project, a separate project is also being administered by Mojave County for Horizon 6 CID to replace and upsize 25% of the district's water mains. Combined, these projects are expected to deliver both the quantity and pressure required to meet Lake Havasu City Fire Department's requirements for fire flow. The fire pump booster solution also promotes water conservation through improvement of Horizon 6's closed system for fire suppression service, and it negates inefficient water tender dispatches, which sustain water losses on tank recharges and draws. WIFA staff conducted a 5-year financial assessment, knowing the district carried no debt and achieved positive net revenue in all but 1 year. In that year, 2022, excessive repair and maintenance costs resulted in the negative performance. The district is projected to maintain its positive revenue until the proposed water supply development loan begins repayment in 2029. At that time, the district would only cover about 25% of the required loan payment. The project qualifies for 60/40 loan grant consideration, and at this level, the loan portion would be $525,000. The Horizon 6 fire booster pumps project was allocated to, the Horizon 6 fire booster pumps project was allocated a $500,000 grant in fiscal year 2026 through the state of Arizona's budget. To date, $125,000 has been received, and the remainder is expected quarterly, with the final payment completed by May of 2026. This funding plus $25,000 the district plans to inject would be held in a separate account restricted to repay the WIFA loan. We do have the borrower representative, Stephen Latowski, Director of Mojave County Public Works, and the project manager is Morgan Burgess, and the loan officer with Anthony Nagera. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
All right. Do we have any questions for Scott or staff on this? Do we have any questions for the applicant? Do we have any requests for public comment on this item?
No request to speak.
There's no additional discussion, then I'd take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion.
Yes, Mr. Cook.
Mr. Chair, I move that the committee recommend to the board approval of financial assistance resolution 2026-015 Mojave County.
Mr.
And
Drew
since-
John, I'll second that.
We've got a motion and a second. If there's no other member discussion, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Cook.
Aye.
Patrice Horstman. Drew John.
Aye.
Pete Kim. Jonathan Lyons. Donna Michaels.
Aye.
Buchanan Davis votes aye. That's 4 ayes. Motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 8, recommendation for approval of financial assistance resolution 2026-031, Coldwater Canyon Water Company. Lindsay, take us through.
So this project would be supporting the Coldwater Canyon Water Company's project, which is located in Black Canyon City. The project would be to design and construct the potable water storage infrastructure. It also would be upgrading electrical systems, installing booster pumps, and adding a pressure vessel to ensure consistent water pressure, reduce outages, and help to meet their peak demand. These improvements would be essential for their system reliability and the long-term service of their water. This project does qualify for 100% grant consideration under WIFA policy 2.18. The applicant currently has no outstanding debt, but has faced some financial challenges over the past 5 years. They've reported negative net income, and with recent increases in expenses that are tied to a transition to a third-party management company, have had difficult financial challenges, certainly. The Arizona Corporation Commission has approved a rate increase that's expected to yield a 10% profit margin based on projected revenues and expenses. However, if the project was funded through a loan, the company would be unable to meet repayment obligations without an additional ACC approved surcharge. This would be a first time request for financial assistance from WIFA from this applicant. And we should have applicant representatives, Christopher Schillings, president of the company, and then Harold Thomas in charge of special projects, available for any questions.
Great, thank you. Do we have questions first for Lindsay or staff on this item? Or questions to the applicant? Any request for the public comment on this one?
No public comment.
There's no further discussion. I'd entertain motion.
Mr. Chairman, this is Drew John. I'll make the motion that we approve the financial assistance resolution of 2026-031 to Coldwater Canyon Water Company.
Thank you. We've got a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. If there's no further discussion, we'll do roll call vote on the motion. Mr. Cook,
Aye.
Patrice Horstman, Drew John,
Aye.
Pete Kim, Jonathan Lyons, Donna Michaels,
Yes, aye.
Buchanan Davis votes aye. That's 4 ayes. Motion passes. Moving on then to agenda item 9, recommendation for approval of financial assistance resolution 2026-019, Sedona Oak Creek Airport Authority. Scott, take us through that, please.
Thank you. Excuse me. Sedona Oak Creek Airport Authority is seeking just over $1,665,000 in funding to construct a new 250,000 gallon steel water tank and upsize the existing water line to a 12-inch main to allow the authority to meet the fire flow water storage and demand requirements for the existing hangars, as well as parcels available for development. The Sedona Oak Creek Airport Authority is a nonprofit entity that manages the Sedona Airport under a long-term lease with Yavapai County. Their water system serves 5 buildings within the airport. Improvements are needed to address safety concerns with the current authority's fire protection system, that without improvements is not able to support the fire protection needs, which will increase vulnerability to fire events and also limit aviation growth. WIFA staff reviewed the audited financials reports for calendar year 2021 through 2024. The authority currently has one bond in repayment status since 2022 that is expected to mature in 2037. Of the 4 prior years, the authority showed net revenue available for debt servicing exceeding $250,000. In all but 1 year, 2022, with the induction of a new bond payment, revenues after debt service did turn negative that year by $85,000. The performance rebounded to around $130,000 in both 2023 and 2024 as the cost of sales and investment income returned to more historical levels. The project qualifies for a 60/40 loan grant consideration. And at this level, the loan portion would be just under $1 million at $999,152. In making the financial projections, WIFA staff applied the authority's average historical growth rates for revenues at 4% and expenditures at 6% to the annualized 2025 projected results. Staff also took into consideration the the board's approval of new rate and charges for service that took effect on May 5th of 2025. Under this schedule, rates and charges on average will increase by 2.2% over current levels. Using this combined information with the staff forecast that Sonora Oak Creek Airport Authority will exceed the required debt service coverage for the proposed loan with results ranging from 3.71 times to 4.83 times. For borrower representative, we do have Edward Rose, the general manager, and the project manager is Morgan Burgess, and loan officer is Evan Marsh. So I'll turn that back to the committee.
Thank you for that description. Do we have questions for Scott?
Donna Marcus has her hands up.
I have a
Donna,
question.
go ahead.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to question. I want to make sure that the relationship with the fire district and the community and the county is on, they're all going in the same direction and positive and supportive. And I think I heard you say Ed was there, Ed Rose, or someone who could speak to the support of this.
Yes. Is,
Yes, Mr. Rose is here.
okay.
Yep.
Is online?
No, he's here in
Oh,
person.
okay. Oh, yep. Yep.
So yeah,
You're
Mr. Rose,
welcome to
you're
come up. Yeah.
welcome to come up to the podium. Just make sure the mic is on, and the little green light should be on to tell you that. And then you can address Board Member Michael's question regarding the relationship between the county and the authority.
Good morning, and thank you, Chairman Davis and board members, for the opportunity to speak today. And what a beautiful view you have. Chairman Michaels, the relationship between the city and the county and the authority is stellar. We are all working toward the same goals of improving that rural airport's service to the community. In addition, this project is a well thought out process. It started in 2019 with a master plan and then moved along to an engineer's opinion of construction costs after some fuel farm improvements. We have a backup generator design completed. We have the the backup generator construction administration services completed. We have the backup generator construction phase that's closing up before the end of next week, as I understand. We also have the water storage tank improvements design phase at 100% complete. We have permits applied for with Yavapai County, with bids advertised November 5th. We have a pre-bid conference scheduled for the 19th of November, an improvement site visit for November 20th. We have a bid submittal date of December 17th with bid review through the 11th of March 26, following an award anticipated in mid-March 26. The local fire marshal has indicated there will be no vertical build allowed on the mesa without additional fire suppression water. We are in fire country. we do host fire TAC teams. The rural airport is poised to capitalize on parcels available for development to secure its future. This improvement is not just an airport asset, but a community asset. We have letters of support from District 1 Representative Selena Bliss and also the Fire Chief Ed Mazulis. Included with our bid documents are all of the WIFA requirements required in a bid. And the airport has no support from local water service providers and are not in any service area registered with the Arizona Corporation Commission. We are an independent. This project does not qualify for any FAA or ADOT funding. I want to thank the board for considering our application today and also thank Ms. Chelsea McGuire for getting us this far and to Morgan Burgess for his assistance with the application process and of course the remaining WIFA staff. We need your help. And on behalf of the Sedona community, thank you for your support of this project.
Thank you for those comments. Do we have any follow-up questions for the applicant? Mr. Cook.
I have a question, maybe for the applicant, but really more for staff and the committee members. Lindsay, or whoever is driving that PowerPoint, can you move it back to the last page of the PPL for just a moment, please? There you go. So this project is the blue shaded one that appears at the bottom half of the slide, and note that it is below the double line there that we use to signify where we expect where the board expects to run out of self-imposed limitation of what is it, $60 million for grant funding. I note that this project with now the red dot on it to help us find it is a recent addition. It sounds like a great project. I'm very sensitive to the safety related aspects of this project in particular. But in effect, what we're considering doing today is moving this project up on the list in advance of number 23 and number 42, which has been around for a while, and they need to, I encourage them to move ahead here because we're running out of time. And what in essence would happen is if we approve this project, number 46 today, would put number 23 and number 42 in danger of not receiving a portion or possibly any of the grant amount that they are asking for. And they were in line sooner and have a higher, a better score, higher on the project priority list. What I would prefer to do is have that discussion when all three of those projects, if it's possible, could be on the agenda at the same time so that we can get out the sharp knife and do what we have to do at one point in time, rather than make this decision today and then come back later and decide, well, how much do we need to trim the grant funding for number 23 or number 42? Now, I admit that we could look at that $666,000 grant amount, which represents 40% of the total funds for the Sedona Oak Creek Authority project, and say, well, it's only $666,000 over the $60 million limit that we have imposed on ourselves. But that becomes, for me at least, a slippery slope. So I'm not prepared to make a motion on this project. I would be prepared to make a motion to table this until the next meeting if it comes to that, but I'd like to hear from other committee members first.
I think following up on that thought is, do we have a sense of where we are on some of the other projects?
This is Lindsay. I can answer that. We do anticipate the rest of the projects on that list will be ready to be presented in early December. We're still working with some of the applicants to get additional information and different things that we need to prepare our due diligences, but we are planning for that right now.
So the only other question I might have, because it's been a sometimes rocky road, though always going in the right direction, I must say. And I've been a longtime supporter of this in my previous life as supervisor. Um, just to clarify, the community's on board, the fire district is on board. The recognition that really that whole area is part of a Ventura. God forbid that a fire should happen, that then would also have an increased capacity uh, to help extinguish or at least manage, mitigate a fire disaster of some sort. Would that be a fair interpretation of where we've come now to where we've arrived at this project?
I think I'll let the applicant answer.
Yes,
that.
absolutely, and that's why we're advocating for this project.
Right.
As I said, this is a community asset, not just an airport asset.
Right.
And we do host fire tag teams through the fire season. And of course, this would aid in supporting their efforts.
I'll ask.
Well, I appreciate your hard work because I know what it's taken. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Donna. I'll ask a follow-up on that. What's the construction timeline on this, once approved? And I think I'm asking, in terms of fire seasons and things like that.
That's a good question. Right now, we've spent the last, year to date in design phase for this improvement. And we expect to be able to award the project in March of 26. The expected build time is 12 to 13 months per our engineers.
So potentially in time for fire season, not next year, but the following year, 2028, too much of a delay.
It should be ready in first quarter 2027. In the meantime, we do have a 90,000 gallon tank that is, of course, undersized for the protection area that it serves.
Great. Yes,
Follow-up question for the applicant.
please.
I'm sorry, I didn't have my mic on, so this is a follow-up question for the applicant. So sir, if for some reason, if this project was delayed until this committee's December meeting and considered along with the other three projects that are listed there above it in white, would the applicant still go forward with this project if there was no grant funding available? In other words, if the entire 1.66 million needed to be a loan?
That's a question for my board. I would certainly present it to our board, advocating for the project's completion. Again, it's a very important community asset that this represents.
Understand. Thank you.
Thanks. Any further discussion or questions? Mr. John?
Yes, the question I got is what Ted brought up was, will we have enough money to be able to fund the other three if this one is approved at this time? I mean, that's what he brought up, and I just want to know if we have it.
Lindsay?
Based on the resolution that limits the grant dollars to $60 million, there would not be additional grant funds available. We would have funds to provide as loan funds for all of the projects on the list currently.
So you're saying there would be loan funds, but no grant funds? Did I hear that right?
Correct, based on the resolution, correct.
Okay.
And what I'm hearing from Mr. Cook is potentially if you move them all to the same agenda item, then you could potentially consider them all together and move it around and see if you can make some room for all of them or tweak them in a way where you could at least, support all three of them in some form or fashion. Is that correct? Am I characterizing that?
More or less. We're not looking at the slide anymore, but all three, and I'll even throw in now the one that's immediately above number 43. Look to be 60/40 loan grant. So if we were to move forward with any one of them today, but my particular concern is that this one, number 46, is the lowest um, on the list and below the line, and in my mind, behind the others. So rather than choose one at the bottom today to approve for a 60/40 split, if we consider them all, we might end up with something like a 66/34 split, and all of them can get some grant money and some loan money, rather than somebody's gonna end up with none. We're at the kind of end of the road here on this funding cycle, and so I use the word the sharp knife. We need to get out the tweezers and the sharp knife and put things together carefully, rather than end up at the end with kind of a scramble, and we're dissatisfied with the work that we did because we weren't thoughtful about it.
Sure. Mr. John, do you have your hand up, or is that from your last comment?
No, I don't right now.
Other thoughts on this?
Well, being the newbie here, if you'll forgive me, I would refer to staff and simply ask, if you can, give us some odds here in putting them together and getting the negative entropy that allows each of these separate entities to gain they would not otherwise have. Might we increase the chances of getting this job done, though I know that the allocations would be different between projects. If I made myself clear.
I'm not sure if I understand the question, if I'm being honest, if it's the chances of getting the rest of the white projects on the next agenda. Is that the question? Yeah. As I said,
Essentially,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, we are definitely working towards that. I can tell you there's still a few, items on the list for the projects that are upcoming, that we're working with the applicants to get further information. There's always chances that something happens, where someone withdraws or decides not to move forward. But right now we are planning for all of those projects minus the Jackson Acres one to move ahead and be presented at the next meeting, which we're hoping to have early December.
So at
There's
this
my-
moment,
Go
there's
ahead,
no
Mike.
downside in keeping them separate based on the track that they're running on right now.
Yeah, I think that's an accurate characterization, at least in terms of there's no detriment to the applicants on the list if we were to determine that we want to take all of them as sort of a group, as Mr. Cook has suggested. I mean, the detriment is it would take more time for them if they are approved to get that approval, but yeah, I think that's an accurate statement.
I think where I'm at in hearing the conversation is, I think this is a very good project. I want to see it move forward. I want to see us help it. So, but I think I'm willing to put it off a month to have that conversation. But by then, if there's some of the applications that aren't in, then we move forward. And I'm just kind of putting that out there. If the applications that are still waiting on stuff, if we're not done, then I would be prepared to move forward on this and maybe some of the other applications. But I think I'm willing to give it a month rest to see if we can kind of see them all together. That's kind of where I'm at.
And I certainly appreciate that, efficiency of that. My worry is that, time and money feel like, they are, at great risk for some of us, with these projects. And, what I do know of this project is that, the sooner it gets funded, the better. So that would be the only thinking that I could offer, John, at this point, to, wanting to cobble them together, which I think is a great idea, but I don't want to risk this one in the doing of that.
There are other options. I suppose we could recommend it to move forward to the board, that we like it as a committee, but also with a caveat that we think that the board should maybe hold on to it, and look at it through December. That could be an option too, I suppose.
Yeah, I think in doing that, right, you would have the opportunity to make a determination on your recommendation here today. But at the board meeting, as it is presented, as representatives of the committee, you can, rehash this conversation, and either maybe we'll learn something by the November meeting, right? Where we know that there are applications that have dropped out, or applications that have indicated they won't be completing the process. So we could still give the board the opportunity to act on the application with additional information. But also give the board the opportunity to do functionally what tabling the application would do today, which is not acting on the application until you do have all of the others in front of you, so that you can act on them and compare them all together as a group. So there's a couple of options there. Mr. John has.
Mr. John.
Yeah, I think what Chelsea's saying is probably a good idea, to move it forward, but I also think Commissioner Cook has a very, very valid point. And, I'm okay with, moving this to the commission, but at the same time, unless something changes at the commission meeting, I would probably vote to table it till we had the money for all of them, even if we have to make some adjustments. And there might be some adjustments, as, Chelsea says, that might be, somebody drops out or somebody doesn't need as much. And if we have to make the adjustments, I want to make sure that they all get something, because it's so difficult to have capital to work with anymore, especially when you're working with grants and low interest loans. So, I'm probably okay with approving this on to the commission, but from there, I'm not sure that I could go farther with it until the December meeting.
Mr. Cook.
Mr. Chair, I have a question for the general counsel. So if we were to move forward with this project separately today, and to approve a recommendation to take it to the board at its next meeting in a couple weeks, what would happen if there was a 3-1 vote today?
For the committee's vote, a majority of any members present is enough to move an action item forward. However, I think alluding to maybe where you're going, a board would require 6 affirmative votes in order to approve funding from the board. This is only a recommendation, not the actual approval of funding, so a simple majority is sufficient to move it forward.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I think it's apparent that members feel that it's a worthwhile project, and want to find a way to support it in some way. It's just a matter of timing, and also seeing it, making sure that we're spreading as much love through all of the projects as possible. And so with that, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, this is Drew John. I'll make the motion that we approve the Financial Assistance Resolution 2026-019.
Okay, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Do we have any other comments from the public on the item?
No other comments.
Then we'll move to a roll call vote on the item. Mr. Cook?
May I explain my vote?
Yes, please.
So I'm not prepared to advance this to the board today for all the reasons that we previously discussed. I'd be happy to vote aye on this at the board level when the time comes, provided that we have the other projects that are on the PPL that we've been speaking about are able to finalize their projects to the point that we can do that. If they don't, well, that's too bad for them. And I'll be happy to vote for this project. And I would love to see this project go forward, either as is, all other things being equal, or with some board level decision to either punch through the $60 million number, or to give a little haircut to everybody, then a big haircut to some and none to others. But that should be at the board level. So my nay vote signifies my hesitancy to do this at this time.
Sounds good. Patrice Horseman. Drew John.
Aye.
Pete Kim. Jonathan Lyons. Donna Michaels.
Aye.
And I'll explain my vote. I'll vote aye, but but of course, the staff on our readout to the board, I want to make sure that, we, I know you already will, but capture the discussion, because I think I'm of the same vein as Mr. Cook. The difference is I'm going to vote aye to move it forward, but I don't want to vote on it as a board level until we have sort of the full collective, map of all of the applications. So I will vote aye. 3 ayes, 1 nay, motion passes.
Thank you all very much for your support. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here. All right, moving to agenda item number 10, call to the public. Any call to the public at this time? Any request to speak?
Mr. Chairman, we do not have any requests to speak. We had someone online who had a chat, and they had some concerns with a community up near the TSMC. I don't know that it's related to this committee, but if this person is listening, I would welcome them to fill out a speaker's card. And this may be appropriate for our regular board meeting.
Okay. Thank you for that. Yes, we'd encourage you to opine in the regular board meeting. Moving to agenda item 11, agenda development. This is an opportunity for members to identify topics that we'd like to be placed on the agenda for a future meeting, or anything that staff like put on our radar.
I did not hear anything specific other than the request for further explanation of that last project once that comes to the board. I will reiterate as well for a member of the public, looking at your comment, I think staff is correct that that would be a great one for you to offer at our next board meeting. And so I would definitely encourage you. I see you've filled out the comment form here, but I think that comment will be better received at the full board. So we'll go ahead and make sure that we get you on for that meeting on November 19th. And I think that's all I have.
All right, anyone else on the committee? All right, do we have a time for our next meeting? Yet to be determined.
Yet to be determined, but please anticipate a poll for your availability the first week in December.
Sounds good. And please do a better job anticipating travel time so you can be here early. So we're not waiting on you like we were today. All right, with that, if there's nothing else, I'm looking around, nothing else, we'll adjourn this meeting. It's 10:07.